Here's the HAG. Here's a bucket of water that I pre-set up. We're just gonna sit her in there. You try to burp it a little bit because it's hollow, right? So air is gonna get up in there, but you want water to get up in there. So I try to burp it a little bit. You can hear the bubbles. Get her in there. Fortunately, she fits. Obviously, we're gonna need a little more water because you want to cover her. And that's probably enough. So all I would do from here is, like I said, just try to burp her a little bit, make sure there's water going up into the cast. That's the water is soaking through the plaster and coming out from under the clay. So all the air is starting to pop out. So that's going to reactivate the alcoat, and pieces should be able to wiggle right off. Back to this table. Okay, she's fresh out of the water. She's ready to pry apart. So we're going to take a tool and we're going to go into all our little cuts here. And sometimes you haven't cut all the way through, so you got to give it a little encouragement. This is also a rather large chunk. Oh, and the lip is coming with it, which we don't really want. There we go. First piece. So that will be, when we're done, this will be its own silicone piece that we're going to put on. We're going to lay that on some foam there to be protected. This lip was coming with it, so the lip comes right off. That's a little nothing piece, but vital to the makeup. I'm going to take this chin off next. There's the cheek. You can see I've got some very, very thin spots. I'm going to have to add a little clay and correct that, but overall, it's a really good thickness. So I was intentionally going really, really thin to try to emphasize a point, but you don't really want that, so we're going to have to add a little clay in there. But overall, that's a very, very good thickness. So that's that one. And this one I must not have cut all the way through. There we go, a little more coaxing. Once again, we have a thin, very too thin spot, but we'll add a tiny little touch of clay there. There's that piece. So you can see the clay is hard enough that the pieces have their own integrity. As long as you don't step on this or sit on it or, you know, put, somebody comes along and puts a mold on it, your pieces are fine, they're safe, they're going to hold up. If it's going to be a while before you get to all these little molds, which in our case is multiple days, we're doing this filming, so it might be a little while. You want to put these in a plastic container or something with some paper towels or a towel or some cotton or something just to keep them nice. Here's our chin. Comes right off. That chin's thick, so we're all good there, the chin and the lower lip. Okay, so the last pieces we have are the cap, the front neck, and the back neck. And the front neck, I'm going to get in there and start prying. There we go. Now remember, this is because before we sculpted, we put alcoat separator, painted it on the cast, 3 coats, and we dried it between coats each time. And we put that over the acrylic paint when we first painted the cast, this clay color. Then we put the alcoat on, if you missed the sculpting lesson. And alcoat is a dental separator, but that allows this magic to happen. There's the neck, so that's going to be the front neck. We got a couple little tiny fine spots, in the hollows that we'll fix. We'll get the back off. However, it was thick here where I cut it, so I might have to coax it a little bit. There's her hump, butt hump. Put that over there for the moment. So this is the shape of the headpiece. This is what's left. This is the first piece of the makeup that will go on. I still want to get this off. And this is going to be the most challenging piece to get off. I'm going to have to cut it somewhere because I doubt it'll just pop off because there's a bulb shape of a head in there. This casting, if we remember, is still a Hydrocal. Not really strong enough to be the base of your mold, to be the positive. So we have to remold this and make an Ultracal, which is today's first big project. But you want to cut it so that it makes some sense when it goes back together. Like, I'm not going to do a straight cut down this middle thick part because it's really thick there, and that would, you know, why? It would just be a kind of silly thing. I'm also not going to cut it across here because it might be hard to register that back on the head front to back. I'm going to cut kind of across this in a weird diagonal so that there's enough side of the head on each side to register it back. I hope that makes some sort of sense. So, unfortunately, all your beautiful texture that you did will have to be fixed up. And the only way you could avoid this is if it had popped off the head by itself, which it's not doing. There's definitely too much of a head shape going on under there. Unfortunately, the whole cap is real thick. Oh, wait, there it is. It's just moving. So all it took was just a little separation there, a little release. Aha! That's the best news I could have possibly had. So there it is. There's all my little balls of clay that I did when I was sculpting. Right? If you remember in the sculpting lesson, that's how I started out, with little beads of clay. This is in one piece now. That's awesome news. So I guess the next project is remolding this. You're going to set all these pieces aside somewhere where they won't get hurt, and we'll do that right now, and we'll get to work on this.